Oh, so you add
Yeah,
like,
we're gonna do it live, huh?
oh, nothing. Go. Do your thing.
Do my thing.
Yeah.
I was just gonna see if it's showing real quick. Uh,
Have we exposed
we're
ourselves?
yeah. If anybody shows up, this is us just screwing around.
Right.
Half of From Here to Paternity going live.
Right.
Uh, Not doing this to be without uh, the other team members, but
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
figured, while I'm showing you something,
Practice a bunch of stuff.
if you wanted to go back and look at it, um,
Yeah.
you would have something to go back and look at. And I do see hanging out showing up. We are, yes, it is live. Cool.
Awesome.
Um. So anyway, let's get back to here. Um. Yeah, just to show you. Um. This is the complication that I think with trying to do group editing until we can figure out a way of doing cloud editing. All right.
Right.
Um. And this is on my laptop, so it's gonna look rather funky. Um. Okay, where did everything go? Did I zoom out too far? Oh, there it is. Okay, yeah, I zoomed way out too far. All right. Um. This is actually, see, I got all this stuff that says offline.
Mm-hmm.
That is like the normal intro, and your bit um, from your intro do not show up unless I have them on. It knows where to look, right? Because remember how I told you what it does is it references back to the original file, and
Yes.
then it just makes all the cuts and edits where
Right.
um, in the program and creates a file solely for that, right? So um, that way the like original file is never getting cut up like this is, right?
Mm-hmm.
So if I wanted to like just render out like one particular small little sample, I could just grab that one piece and render it out, and it'd just look for the original file, find that one time-stamped area, and render that out separately, right? Um, but it's um, if anybody ever um, figures out a way for us to um, and I might be able to. It's something we might have to play with, but I don't know if I did like a zip file with the Reaper file and the wave files from the recording,
Mm-hmm.
um, and then all the little sound, or the at least just with that. And you wanted to go in and trim certain areas out.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I'm gonna have to try this because I have yet to try moving this file back to my main computer, right? Because
Mm-hmm.
right now this is on my laptop. But and then go in and uh, I'm guessing I can come in here and select this offline area and go into. I'm guessing it'd probably be item properties. I don't know. And I know when I opened it up, it was giving me these options of like locate file for these,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm assuming you can do it at source properties. Um, I don't know if I go in here because this yet again this is an area that I'm completely unfamiliar with. But I'm assuming there is a spot I can go and reset.
Well, and before we start like really messing around with stuff, one of the things that I think we could do is like the four of us one time just get in and make a complete and total like crap file
Mm-hmm.
that we then can use as our like practice file to
Right.
see like does this work, rather than doing a 90-minute recording and like, well, let's practice on this. Oh no, we lost 90 minutes, or whatever, like, and everything. But then but at least like if we were to able to I don't know if you saw my head bop by accidentally. There's this like little like coil here, and I was like trying to move my head or whatever, and my thumb. I was like, I'm just gonna slide my thumb down, and tugged on my head. I'll move my thumb down and got caught on my headphones. But anyways, like if we get some like crap file or just joke file or whatever, just junk file, use that to practice and see and test what we can do with the cloud edit right before we really start like practicing doing it.
Mm-hmm.
But that way, like if we ruin anything, we ruin a junk file rather than an actual recording. But it's
Yeah.
something
Well,
I think we should get into.
yeah, because I mean that's the thing is what it does is it just references the take, so it's
Mhm.
never really screwing up
The original.
the original. Um, but um, yet again, I don't know how. Um, I forget what it's called. Um, how the Adobe one works. But yet again, that's a subscription service, and I'm thinking like maybe once we get a little more, just keep crunching, and
Mhm.
potentially um, build up, more listeners. Um, uh, it maybe get some of that sweet, sweet Patreon money. Um, so
Suckling from
yeah,
the teat of the
yeah, so
Patreon.
that we can whore ourselves out. Um, uh,
I do that for free as it is, so I mean, I might as well get paid for it.
I know that's part of the edit I'm working on now.
Oh my god.
um, anyway, yeah, it has hold on, I don't know if let me see if I can do it real quick. I don't know if it'll show up. Uh, switch you back around there. Cause do I have? I think I've got the audio turned off, and it probably won't let me switch it now that I'm actually um in the app. Uh, let me see. Yeah, it probably won't let me do it. Um, but I don't know. My microphone might actually pick it up. Um, if you want a sneak peek, it's not finished yet.
Okay.
It might pick it up. You want a sneak peek of the. If you want a sneak peek, it's not. Oh crap! It might pick it up. You want a sneak peek I'm gonna mute that real quick until I hit play. I'm gonna be quiet for a second.
Sounds good.
Um,
Walmart butthead. We're just talking about tits and ass.
So when are you gonna find your sexual applications for it?
Wiener, man. Anthony Wiener.
Well, that's enough about your penis. Let's move on.
The original fake news.
I'm in Josh Hawley land, so I understand.
Voter. He was further orange than the Orange Man was. I mean, he really was. All of those hosts, giving them money since 2005. Actually, they do say that they're in the members. The voter. They're doing fucking old. You fucking moron! Actually, they say that they're in the members.
It's still echoing. Yeah.
No, dude.
There's a part when you're talking about hosts, but you can't really pick up the T, so it sounds like hose. And then you were talking about supporting the Young Turks, and you like, I've been paying them since 2005. So it sounds like, you know, you're talking about hose. I've been paying them since 2005. You know,
it's what I do.
hey, you gotta support. You gotta support.
Right. Just supporting small local businesses. That's you know.
Hey, I'm totally down with supporting small local businesses. It's just, you got all these damn corporations shutting them down.
Like,
you know, because
the fact
I was listening to a guy who was doing he was talking about previous employment, and I don't say this is on Instagram or TikTok or something like that. Might have even been Facebook. I don't remember. But he was talking about polar opposite jobs, environment, you know, one of which he had been working for like 10 years at, and it was like his grandmother got sick or his grandfather got sick. Somebody, or it might have even been his father. I don't remember. But anyway, they were real sick, and I think it was like cancer, and they knew that it was getting close to the end. They were in hospice care and all that, and he got a phone call saying, "Hey, you might want to come on down." And so he talked to his boss. They didn't want to. They were like, "Well, you're just going to have to file the paperwork for, you know, bereavement time off." Da da da. He leaves. He goes down. They're calling him, "Hey, when are you coming back? You know, how long is this going to take?" Right? And stupid bullshit like that. And and they're just giving him shit about it, to the point that he's like, "You know what? Fuck it. I'm not. I'm dealing with this. I'm not." So he quits, and then he winds up getting another job, and he's not there like 6 months. And like, I guess, I don't know if it was the partner of the other person. You know how when you get an older person, you know, the loved one dies, a lot of times their health just significantly declines due to depression and whatnot.
Right.
I'm thinking that's what it was. I might be misremembering it, but he gets that other call. It's like, "Hey, they passed. You need to come on down here," you know. And he walks into his new boss's office, and he's like, here's the situation." And the boss is like, "Why are you still here? Go." You know? He's like, "Well, what about," he's like, "Go. We got this." You know? You know? We'll pick up the slack if we can. If we can't, you can get it when you get back. And you know, so he goes, he comes back, he's down there. He gets a call from HR office. He didn't answer the phone, but he checks his voicemail message, or he gets a text message or something like that from HR, and he's like, "Oh shit," you know, "here it goes again." Right? He's thinking that boss was kind of cool. Now the company is going to be like shit, right? Wanting to know when he's coming back. And they were like, "Hey, you know, give us a call on Monday, or whenever you get a chance." You know, so he calls him up, and they're like, take as much time as you need. We just wanted to know where are the services, and is there going to be a reception or anything afterwards, and where is that going to be at? And they had flowers delivered, and they had taken up money. They sent that to the family to help cover anything that the family might need, and sent them meal, catering. He hadn't even been there like 6 months, and he was being treated like family, like a human. That. Why am I here? What's happening? My phone just automatically came here. Somebody just randomly showed up.
Oh,
Hey, Danny Staton.
hey,
We're just on here just bullshitting, just screwing around.
welcome, man. Welcome to the party.
Yeah. Keep it clean. That's all we ask, Anyway. But yeah, it was just just the completely different, I think the other company was probably a smaller company. It wasn't as, it was more family oriented than the other one. And it's like,
I completely agree that companies need to make a profit. I don't think anyone denies that, right?
No.
And what I think is really funny.
He responded, "Keep it clean. Laugh out loud. Have you seen my videos?"
Have you heard our podcast, my friend?
Yeah. Have you heard the podcast?
You don't understand how hard we're trying, my friend.
Yeah.
Though you did miss the part where we were talking about prostitution, so.
Yeah.
So, but no, like my deeply conservative uncle left a job that was a corporate job, not a corporate, but like a company job, we'll say, like of sorts, right? And so, I mean, it's like in the Midwest, so it's not anything like, it's never going to be anything gigantic. It's not like Chicago or anything like that. It's small town USA or whatever. So it's never going to be gigantic, but really hated how like they, didn't really like support him. He's, got his own like personal business where like the family kind of, raises animals and sells them and stuff like that. And ended up leaving it and joining a co-op and absolutely loves it, where he goes around and he's like, selling like products that are associated with raising animals and all this stuff. And he's, well known, like my family's, fairly well known in the community and stuff like that. And, some of my family members have been on different local municipality, governmental positions and things like that. And I was like, wait a minute, you work for a co-op where like all the employees are like part owners? Yeah, it's a really cool thing. Like, like we're all kind of invested in this company and we're all kind of, doing our thing. And I was like, wait, so like the labor owns the means of production? And he was like, wait, what are you talking about? I was like, you're a freaking socialist, my friend. Welcome to the party. And it's like, what was it? who was I listening to? Like I was watching a video of like Jordan Klepper or somebody, one of those guys that goes into like, MAGA, groups and stuff like that.
Hey, hold on one second. I think I just realized. I think Danny Staton is a follower of Thrash. So, hey, Danny, what's up?
Oh, is it?
I think so. So,
Hey, Danny, it's Das Gimp.
yes. And it's raw and unprepared. Of course, you know that. It's the channel you're on. So,
That's awesome. I gotta like pull up the YouTube and just so I can see if anybody's like.
well, it's only showing 2 people watching, myself and Danny. So
Danny?
as soon as you pop up, it'll be
We'll go up to 3.
yeah. And Danny, you'll get a taste of what it's like when we're yep, Pons is my partner in crime. Yeah. Boom.
Oh,
Showing it. Anyway, you'll get a taste of what from here to paternity is like, and especially like the random conversations we have that sometimes get edited out.
But yeah. So like, and again, like, I think it's really funny. Like, anyways, they go into talking to people, and they're like, I really think that because he's asking them, kind of going about like, bringing up like these like socialistic constructs.
Mm-hmm.
And like asking questions on those framings, and with like, but it kind of like without being, super overt about it. And it, like, you see them like agreeing with these like sort of concepts, because like, and again, it's what I talk about like with Eric, with Tug all the time about is that it's not an either or to me. I think it's a matter of balance, right? Like too far one way, and you're going to get, discord, and it's not going to work out well. Too far the other way, again, it's not going to work out well. And you got to find this happy balance between, like, I broke down capitalism versus socialism for my girls, as in that capitalism is. Oh, go ahead.
Are you keeping an eye on Danny? Said he did a shout out to others, so we just got another person jump in on here.
Hey, Shock Theater.
This is actually something I've been trying to want to do. Is bring on Scott or whoever to bullshit while I'm working on renders or whatever. We started this to talk about editing the podcast, but now we've kind of gone off the rails, which is typical for us.
Yeah.
So, but hello, Shock Theater official. I'm still trying to learn everybody from Thrash and Tug's community. So, oh, we just got somebody else. Judgment Day,
Mike.
You might recognize some of these names more than me, Scott, because you jump on Thrash's channel more often than I do. It's kind of crazy. But what were you saying about teaching your daughters about?
Oh, so I was teaching them that like when it came to like the difference between capitalism and socialism is that like, and this is really layman. So this is not like, again, we're talking about small children that I'm trying to like help kind of concept, because both, like, again, both have merit, right? So I'm not like trying to get, I saw it like Matt, but anyways, I'm not trying to like, I'm getting distracted by like chat stuff or whatever. Anyways,
Yeah.
but no, so I'm not trying to like crap on either one, right? but like, you know, in capitalism, you're valuing what a person can do. Whereas like socialism, you're inherently valuing the individual or the person, right? Um, like that the person inherently comes with value. Like there's nothing that they have to do in order to garner value. It's just already there baked in, right? And so like the like that'd be awesome. Thanks, Daily Beast. But like
Cool.
yeah.
Yeah. Don't forget to plug the podcast too.
I know. Yeah.
Well,
Like
I've-
our podcast is From Here to Paternity.
Yeah, sorry to go off the rails again, off of socialism, but I was listening to another podcast that I follow. It's the Ask Bandrew podcast. He does a lot of like mic reviews and equipment reviews and stuff like that. But he's been talking about how like NPR and a lot of big name companies that podcast are struggling on the YouTube podcast thing because now YouTube offers like the podcast services, right? So you can like upload the stuff and have the static image. But
why did you have to add? Wait! Why did you have to add services to that? You should have just left it Old Man River. You know, the YouTube's has the podcast. Yeah,
because you always need to include servicing. That's why.
Right. True.
We got somebody else.
Mandy and Candy.
Mandy and Candy 21. Okay.
All right.
Don't know why. I'm guessing age. I don't know. Anyway, he was talking about why they fail or why they're not succeeding on the YouTube platform is because they're not diversifying what they're posting, right? It's like you're already going to some other podcast aggregate, you know, be it, you know, Spotify or Apple Podcasts or Google Podcasts, whatever, to get those podcasts. So why would you go to YouTube for the same thing, right? So with that in mind, what I was thinking about is with the From Here to Paternity channel, keep trying to do, you know, give something different to that than what we're doing with the regular podcast. That's why I was thinking, you know, introducing the whole idea of doing the sub 21 dummy. Oh, okay. I don't know. I'm an idiot. You know. Well, but anyway, but thank you. I am not keeping track of how many subs I have.
I was like so wait, when you said sub 21, I was like, wait a minute. There's so many things that could mean. I'm not hip with like
especially
the
with
lingo.
the conversation we were having earlier about, you know, what was it?
Small businesses.
Yeah. It's showing 22 now. But hello everybody. And thank you, Danny, for spreading the good word.
Yeah, man.
But anyway,
That's fantastic.
since Danny's spreading the good word and everybody's jumping in here, might as well keep plugging the podcast too. From Here to Paternity, wherever you get your podcast. It is much different than Thrash's channel and Eric's channel.
My name will
Tug
make
is
much
on
more
there.
sense.
Just remember, Tug is on there, so you get to hear a completely different side of him. You know. Oh, thank you, Danny. Thank you. I guess I'll show that one and share it. Yay. But cool. Thank you. Yeah, because you know me, I mainly do like podcast editing and graphic design or artwork stuff on Blender, which I'm actually rendering something now that I will show later. It's nothing special, but anyway,
And wait. And on that note, you've done like some of Tug's like intro videos and stuff
Oh
like that.
yeah. The like the exit little videos after his video and um the eclipse thing, that was a bunch of those are old videos. I haven't done. I've got to get a new video card before I start trying to endeavor upon that, because that would take up my computer for days trying to render some of that stuff out. So but anyway, do you want to continue plugging?
Yeah, no, like no,
Or
like,
get
check out
back on topic.
like there was a topic. Is there ever a
Yeah,
topic?
we just got on here to just hang out. That's why it's called hanging out.
I just pull stuff out of my magic hat, aka my rear end, and then we just chat about it, man. Like,
Yeah.
no,
I mean, that's how he gets the matter to polish, you know.
that's right. That's right. I gotta polish something. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. If you listen to our podcast, my name will make so much more sense now. Like, especially the evolution of how it became this. South Carolina.
Cool. What's up? How's it going? Paranormal investigation.
Oh.
I'll have to check that out. I used to love reading and watching paranormal stuff when I was a kid.
Yes.
You know, unsolved mysteries type shit, and you know, I'm not trying to monetize this, so we're both gonna be cussing, I'm sure. It flows out so freely, most of the time. So
I don't think like I'm really gonna have to work on like censoring myself, because if we were to ever do anything in order to like monetize on YouTube, like YouTube would have to strictly be just for craps and giggles, you know, because like, oh, Danny, I'm telling you, man, like I remember vividly when I was a kid, one of my favorite books that I used to get from the elementary that we went to, Scenic Heights. But like SHE Scenic Heights Elementary. But like from that library, I would get these ghost stories, and the one that I would get repeatedly had this one story of the Lincoln coffin ghost train, where like there was this ghost train that would go, and it was supposed to have Lincoln's coffin on it, and you could see him rise from it or whatever. And my mom would read this story to me, like in her bed as we're about to go to bed, and she would look at me like, "Are you sure you want me to read this?" And I'm like, "Yes, please, more, please." You know, like.
I think you and I probably were fighting over the same book back and forth, or we talked about it or whatever, because I was checking that book out multiple times too.
Yeah.
You know, it was like, you know, I'd you know, being raised by a single mom, you know, it be hauled around by, you know, when I was young, you know, wherever, because I wasn't really, or she didn't feel I was old enough yet to, here's a key, figure it out, you know.
You weren't responsible enough yet for the latch.
Hello, everyone that's jumping in, just in case I haven't said hello. But yeah, and I would be carrying, that would be like my go-to book to have when, you know, like she's in a meeting and I'm like down the hall in another room, you know. Because my mom did a lot of like extra stuff at her job for you know, just the community and helping out students and stuff like that. So I was always just kind of tagging along. So books were my my go-to thing, and that's when I think I started to learn a lot of, take things with a grain of salt with some of the stuff that you read. Because I remember there's quite a bit of stuff in nonfiction section that should probably not be there, but people experience things, people see things they don't understand, they write about it. Yeah, cool, whatever.
Well, I mean, like that's like where I was like I was confused for a very, very long time, because like I was in the non fiction section when I first came upon the book Twilight, and was just completely confused by so much. And I was
I
like,
want to sparkle too.
yeah. And like all of my life, I grew up like thinking vampires were one thing, but in reality, they live in like the Pacific Northwest and they sparkle. Like
you probably never read it, and it's been so long since I read it, I can't even remember full plot stories or arcs and all that. I think it was called The World on Blood. It was yet another weird spin on vampirism, where I guess there's a certain group of people that have something different about their genetics or whatever, that when they consume somebody's blood who's not in that niche group, it's like a drug, right? You drink to get high.
Okay. So it's not about sustenance. It's about like
it might have some to do with sustenance, but it's more of like getting high. And the way that like one subgroup of this group would test, like down in the Caribbean or whatever. I think that's where it's not where the story was taking place, but they were talking about it, or somebody was from there. When a child's born, they would tap a little spot on the bottom of the foot, and somebody would drink it. And if they got high, they knew that person was, if they, and it's pure too, the younger you are, I guess. So, but they would drink the child's blood, and they would know whether or not they are or aren't. So they knew how to raise that child. They put that child up for adoption and have them raised by a normal family, or were they one of them and raised them as one of them. But there was like one scene where they were at like a Grateful Dead concert, and they're already out of their minds on acid and shit, and tons of weed, and they wind up draining this dude. It's a couple of the vampires that wind up just draining this dude at a Grateful Dead show.
How can you do that while I Will Survive is playing? Like, that's just not cool. I will survive.
Yeah. It's like, I will, you won't, yeah, right. But I will.
I think, isn't that the thing, like what you were talking about, like going down and like the babies getting pricked in the islands? Isn't that like where like around the same time, like Rush Limbaugh got caught with his like 800 grams of like Viagra and Oxy?
Oh, I have no idea.
No, I'm just kidding. Like,
I had forgotten about that.
Yeah. Sorry, that was really
growing up listening to Rush Limbaugh.
No.
I actually saw a bumper sticker today. It said "Forever a Ditto Head." Thanks, Rush.
Nice.
It was a Rush Limbaugh fan.
Hey, good for him, man.
Yeah.
No, I always liked
Alex Jones, but
Yeah, no, right. No, I always liked.
I don't know.
Patton Oswalt's like joke where he's talking about like the intro music between like conservative talk radio versus the intro music to like NPR, and he's like, next on Hannity, we're going to be talking about America and freedom, or whatever, and then it's like, next on NPR, we're going to speak to an Aboriginal tribe in the touched forest.
That's why I like
like you can't
I
like those
like
two things
listening
don't
to
compete.
NPR because it gets me out of the headspace of all the I mean, it does talk about the crazy shit that happens here in this country, but they go elsewhere and talk
No,
about other stuff, and a lot of it's like enlightening. It's kind of like, oh, that's cool. It gives me hope in humanity at times, right? As opposed to listening to talk radio and all the
oh,
AM stations, and it's just like,
well, and
okay,
even
just
like we were talking about with the dystopian future series and stuff like that, even just the YouTube algorithm is just it's all hate porn, right? It just gets you angry, right? Get that you know cortisol pumping, get that epinephrine running, get you
mhm,
all amped up, and
mhm,
just like get you angry and pissed off, and it's just hate porn,
yeah,
and so it's like
because it's
you
all,
know
"Don't live in fear," and they give you all this stuff, and it's like, "Oh, I'm not afraid. I'm angry."
yeah,
You know?
well, be afraid and angry, right?
Yeah.
Like yeah, it's yeah. So again, you just can't talk. You can't talk to anyone. I was just
Lanita
talking.
Bryant says, "My channel is all about love." Awesome.
That's you know what, Lanita, darling, that is what we need, right?
Yes.
That is what we need is love,
Yeah, because
sweet love.
I was having that oh, yeah, that sweet, sweet loving. Oh, yeah, because I was talking about that with my mom today when we were having dinner. Um, was forget I don't even remember how we got on the topic, but we were talking about, um, the
Sweet love.
evangelical pastors and, you know, and listening to some of them nowadays, um, talking about all the stuff that they disapprove of in society, and how this person is a demon and that person's a demon, and this is like you've got and it's just like hate, 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 instead of like being compassionate and being loving, and helping out those. It's like, yeah, okay, you don't agree with decisions that another person's making. Okay, got it. You're not living their life. You don't have to make the same decisions they are. Just let them be. They let you be. you know
It's not your job. Like like from a you know religious perspective, it's not your job. Your job is just to love them.
yeah,
The judgment, that's somebody else's job, right? Regardless of your belief system, that's somebody else's job is to pass judgment, right?
right,
Your job is just to love them, right? We're all like that's why like I always like I love that like I always try to talk to people and phrase it as our like that we're brothers and sisters, right? Because you know I can argue with my brother, I don't hate him,
right.
right?
And it's
I can disagree with my
and
brother.
just for clarification of those who are watching this, um, Scott is a um,
Unitarian
Unitarian
Universalist.
Universalist. I'm an former Catholic, now open atheist, and I try not to be hateful about the stuff. It just is not something that works for me. Um, I just don't like other people forcing their viewpoints, the way they choose to live their life does not mean it has to be a way that I have to live my life. Um, so.
Right.
But
And again, I like the to me the like regardless of the belief system is a beautiful thing, man. Like it and to me, it's all about connecting to something bigger than yourself, right? Whether that's a spiritual entity, right? Or, you know, your community, right?
Mhm.
Your family, the universe, right? Like Neil deGrasse Tyson talking about like we're stardust, right? We're made of star stuff. That's a deeply spiritual thing, right? Like that's you're like, and I've used that when working with clients. I've sat there and I've said like, usually in the morning I'll have a banana in here, and so I'll be able to see this
Uh,
banana. You share 51% of the same genetics as this banana. Like we're made to be here, right? You were connected. Like we're supposed to be here, right? Now, whether that was like crafted by a hand of God or, by, whatever series of events that brought us here, regardless of why we're here and how we're here, like we're here, right? And
yeah,
that's beautiful.
yeah, because that's when so many people bring up to me when they find out that I'm an atheist and all that. It's just it's well, why aren't you just a nihilist? Why do you just keep, why do you keep going? I mean, in a way, I am a nihilist because I think at the end of everything, that's it. But like you just said, I'm here now, right?
Right.
You know, I have people that are, as far as I know, experiencing what I'm experiencing, and I'm trying to have community with them. So. Did you see what Danny said?
What did it say?
That'll be pool noodle territory right there.
Right.
If
Yeah.
you if
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
if you listen to the podcast, you'll understand the pool noodle reference,
Yeah. Yeah. Yep. 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 Yep.
or the CN Tower.
Well, and no, but like I think also like what he's saying is that he's a little bit that they've got a little bit more in genetically inclined similarities, maybe, or maybe he's talking about his ability to stand at attention at or feed a
Yeah,
larger family.
yeah. Hopefully, it's not the the ability to peel. Sounds a little painful there, Danny. Oh,
It's
I mean,
slippery.
just as long as it heals up, okay. And I mean, I'm not here to kink shame. Not here to yuck your yum.
Hey, I call it a banana because it's slippery. Like sorry, that was ba-dum-bum-ba-bum-bum. Yeah, and don't worry, in our podcast, Joe does not edit those out. So when there's a bomb, it is enjoyed by everyone. Not like,
Yes,
but
sometimes brought to the forefront just for.
right, yeah. I know, right?
Yeah.
And so like, no, I just, I feel like the why aren't you this or why aren't you that is like, that's a ridiculous question, because and let me rephrase that. Depending on how it's asked, it can be a ridiculous question, because if it's asked from an earnest inquiry, then I think that's an interesting question. Like, what is the difference between this and that, right?
Mhm.
Like, if someone who doesn't understand Christianity, like some of you are Catholics, some of you are like Protestants, or even like if you were even want to get into it, like, what is the difference between Lutherans and Methodists, right? Like, that's a little bit more of a nuanced facet than even just Catholic versus Protestant, right? So it's like, so some of these different denominations and what have you, I think there's an earnest question there, right? If you're asking it earnestly. But if it's asked from a position of sarcasm, like then you're just being a jerk, right? You don't believe in anything. Why don't you just nihilist and feel like the world is empty blackness and what have you? Like, dude, we all can be like thinking about death, like, like that's what neuroses and mental health issues are all about, right? Is thinking about like, you know, the past and the future and not being in the now, right? And so like, you know, mental distress is all about that, right? Instead of being in the here and now. And so like, you know, that's like going to someone of faith. Oh, if you love heaven so much, why don't you just kill yourself and go there now? Like, because I'm not a jerk, moron. Like, come on, man. Like, let's not be like silly here. Like, let's be grown adults and have a real conversation about this. You know, if you're earnest. You know what, Mandy and Candy, more power to you, man. I go to at some of my churches. I've actually had a number of witches that have attended my church, and so I've been to a number of Saturnalia celebrations and Yule celebrations and all of those glorious events.
Mm-hmm. And religion is just politics, and Christianity lives in the heart. I wouldn't disagree with that. That's why that's why the organized religion for me, I had to. It was one of the main pushing. Danny said, "Did I miss something? I don't know. Not keeping an eye on you. Not God." Anyway.
Like I don't. Maybe he came in talking about like my going to churches with witches and Saturnalia.
Yeah, but I don't know. He probably stepped away for a little bit. I haven't been keeping a whole close eye on. That's the thing I love about, like, you know, watching like Eric's channel, and then when he does his live streams, and then going watching Thrash is very engaged with, you know, what's going on. It's very community driven, you know, and when Eric does the live streams with them, kind of brings in that little bit of an element, but at the same time is like, you know, you and me, we've known each other since freaking elementary school. So yeah, so it's you know, it's just it's, you know, free flow thoughts, you know, bouncing, you know. It's like me going to therapy. I told my therapist that I is like, I'm sorry if I don't do therapy right, you know, because it's like I feel like, you know, when I go in there, I've got like so much stuff, you know, going on in my head, you know, and there's certain things that are like, I guess, you know, affecting me this week or whatnot, and I just kind of, I'm like a pinball. Just I try to stay focused, and they all are in my brain related, right?
Mm-hmm.
You know, because one, it's all stuff that's going on with me, so that's the main reason I think they're tied together. But it's just, you know, it's, I don't know. But I was like, you know, I'm sorry if I'm just kind of. And he's like, cool, whatever.
No, so like, no, that's actually. Did you have therapy today?
Yes.
Oh, me too. That's too funny. Like I just happened to have my
and I screwed it up too, because it's the thing I hate about like using, you know, the calendar app and where it automatically fills stuff in, because it was when I made the appointment, because I remember it now when I was making the appointment, I picked up the date, I went down and I selected the time, right? And then I went up to put in the title, what the appointment was, and it started to auto-populate, and I just clicked it, right? Well, that just picked from what I had typed previously at another appointment and reset the time altogether. So I showed up at my therapist at 10 o'clock this morning when my therapy appointment wasn't until 3.
Oh, I've done that before.
And I was just like, eh.
like you show up and
Mandy
you're like,
cast a spell on Joe and his beard fell out. Huh?
they don't call me that no more.
I don't know. but
Okay, because he's like, I hear you,
this-
Evil
this-
Lynn.
my beard ain't falling out. I mean, I might lose a hair or two here, but
And Joe's like,
you cast a spell on me and I wake up tomorrow and my beard's gone, we're gonna have nice conversation. We're gonna have you do a couple more spells for me. 'Cause that shit works. That's all I'm gonna say. If I wake up
Right.
tomorrow with no beard,
we're gonna come up with a whole bunch of different spells.
oh
and
yeah,
my wife is gonna be the happiest woman in the world.
she should already be. I know. I'm trying to keep mine happy.
Do you see who she's married to? Does
she yeah, and we know
Does this
why.
not
She loves
scream
you.
pain and agony?
No,
No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
one of the biggest hearts I know. That's all I'm gonna say.
I have to. It has to be. It's called hypertrophy. No, I'm just kidding.
Oh.
No, you know what, Danny? Like, let's not hear it. Like, this is our rule. Let's try not to be offensive, but say whatever. As long as everybody else is cool with it. Like, if you ever listen to our podcast is very, very explicit, and we have we do not have any appropriate jokes, and so
That's why it starts off with a warning.
yeah, and again, like, the whole point of our podcast is that, because on our podcast we have like it's the four of us, two of us are here today, but it's the four of us, and we span the spectrum of politics and all kinds of stuff, and we disagree, and it's okay to disagree, and it's okay to get angry about that disagreement, right? It's okay to sit there and go like, I am not happy right now. But then, like, especially like Tug and I, man, like, we'd always joke, like, we'd have to sit there and go like, you're the devil, and the other one would say, well, you're the spawn of Satan, and come see, come saw, and like, and then afterwards, like, then like kind of find our happy medium, right? Whenever, and we'd always, solve all the answers to everything, and so yeah.
Sorry, I had to highlight that one because that used to be me back. Well, in a way it still is, but I'm much tamer now than I used to be when I was younger.
Oh.
I used to. I forget who used to say I used to have the tact of a chainsaw. Oh. Anyway, yeah. Back in the day, I had no filters either, Danny. So, I mean, but hold on, let me cut that off real quick. I don't know if he wants her in there or not, but okay. Ah, family. So you go off on that Bud Light freak?
Oh, I
No
forgot to.
idea.
Sorry, I'm sitting here talking, and I didn't realize that I muted my mic. I forgot that I muted.
Oh,
my
I
mic.
thought you muted it because she came in. That's why I was trying to switch it real quick to hide
No,
her, but I clicked on the wrong thing.
I'm sitting there like having a conversation with you and anyone who's listening, but nobody's listening because I muted it, and I'm just like.
I thought you were talking to her the whole time, so you know.
No. So, anyways, that's my youngest.
have to-
That's.
Is the Bud Light freak? Is that on a stream somewhere I can go and watch? Or was that in chat that you went off on somebody, Danny? And I love that he refers to it as he said, it started that crap. Not he, not they, not she. It started that crap.
And so for me, it's always about like, we're all brothers and sisters. Let's, you know, you know, let's try and find understanding, right? Rather
Mhm.
than, rather than, I don't want anybody to feel shame. Like, I always, when I work with people, I always tell them like I'm not here to pass any shame to anyone, because you don't need my help with that. We all do that well, enough on our own. We don't need anyone else helping us to feel shame about ourselves,
Oh, yeah, so
right?
I wake up with the shame every morning.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, that post-coital shame too,
I know.
"Don't touch, don't touch."
Why? Why did you ever say yes to that? How could
had
you?
I had too much to drink. That's why.
I look at my
That's
wife and
why I agreed to no lube this time. I
I look at my
regret it
wife and
now.
I just, she disgusts me because she said yes. Like, who says yes to this? How dare you? I have standards. I won't even go that low.
Only because I can't bend over
I
that
know,
far.
'cause I can't. The knees. The knees
Kev
can't take it anymore.
Kevin Smith reference.
But yeah, I just like, yeah, no. Yeah, I just don't feel like there's a, you know, I just, there's enough, like, again, it's that like that hate porn, man. It's trying to divide us so that divide and conquer. Like, and that's like, I was just talking to someone who called me by accident, actually. They were looking for a veterinarian, and I'm like, I am not I am not the veterinarian you are looking for. And so like, and like, just kind of got, you know, like, just wanted to, like, as I'm trying to look up stuff and help this person out, like, they're telling me about their situation and their story, and I'm just like, well, yeah, like, they're on a fixed income, and they're stuck on that fixed income because they're on a bunch of different programs. And you've got people like politicians that are purposely messing over that program, taking it from a safety net that's supposed to catch you so that you can lift yourself up and out and everything. And instead, they put in all of these regulations so that you can never get out, right? And in
Mhm.
fact, a lot of times it's not even just the ones that one would assume are that would want people on there, right? It's actually the people that say that they want people off that are actually tearing it apart, that makes it impossible for people to get off because of all of these different stipulations that they put on it. Because again, most people want to feel productive, right? When you're not productive, you get depressed, you get lonely, get isolated, you get, anxious, suicidal, all these different things, right? Like, people do like work. It's just that, what do we, like, you've talked about this, Joe. Like, your job is not what you want to be spending your life doing, right?
Mhm.
You want to be doing something else, but because, healthcare is tied to your job, and because of, all of these other factors, there's, you have to provide for your family in order to ensure that you guys have a roof and food. And like, and so we keep you oppressed with that company, and so that you can't escape them. So then you, in a way, become an indentured servant, in a way, right?
Mhm. Yep.
And right now we're seeing a lot of people that have a lot of labor that has the freedom to move and not need jobs, right? Not need certain jobs, right? And rather than making their jobs more appealing to labor, they're instead lowering the labor age to get children in there.
Mm-hmm.
To get children in there. Like, didn't we learn this 100 years ago? Like 100 years ago. We were having these labor wars 100 years ago. And we're back at it. It's just sorry.
No, I'm with you. 'Cause, I mean, I think that's what I guess with Eric on why he, I guess, is cool with the um um basic income idea, right?
Yeah, the universal basic.
Yeah, the universal basic income, because one, it allows the employee to be more free, right? To and same thing with like universal healthcare, to be more free to be able to go, you know what, this job and this work environment's not working for me, and have and feel safe enough to go, I'm gone, and go and look for something else. It's like, yes, you could go ahead and start looking for something else first. Um, but sometimes it's a situation right then and there that you have to go, no, this is not going to happen. And I'm gone, right?
Mm-hmm.
So having that ability to do that, one, gives more freedom to the working class people. Two, for me, it would also to me force employers to be more competitive to lure the people in, right? And
Right.
because, like you said, everybody wants to be productive. Everybody wants to feel needed in some way. I mean, there's always going to be the outliers, right? There's always going to be outliers.
Oh, but they're so small.
I know, but
Yeah,
I agree.
And-
That's why they're
sure.
outliers, right? But you know, and causing the employer to be more competitive on how to lure people in, because I mean it's already gone from where, like where I work, getting rid of pension, right?
Yeah.
And it's like, our contract negotiations are going to come up, and all the time there's a push to try and either first they've already gotten rid of new people being vested into the pension. Now they are only strictly 401k. I'm luckily enough still part of the pension, and I have the 401k on top of it. But we're thinking that this negotiation, they're going to come in and cap pension, right?
Mhm.
So however many years you have vested in, that's it. You no longer accrue any more for every year you work for us, right? But the thing is, the pension is so well vested anyway. It's like, I think they've tried buying people out of their pension when they quit, you know, for a ridiculously low amount of money.
Yeah.
Because it's like dangling the money is like, here, this is a lot of money. Yeah, like right now, but over a long period of time, that's peanuts, right?
Right. Well, and with the pensions, like, I like, it's always interesting to me that, because when you really I always love when they show, like, whenever you start with a new company, you'll do this little, like, dog and pony dance where you're doing all the introductions and all this different stuff. And then you'll start to see, like, they'll show how much they're spending on salaries, right? And it's like, all of our money, the vast majority of our money is going to paying for people's salaries. And us being like labor, we're like, oh yeah, that's coming to us. Except they never break down how much is going to labor and how much is going to executives. They never give that breakdown.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And so when I hear about like pensions, I'm like, well, you want to cut something? Why don't we cut some golden parachutes? Like,
Yeah, because that's the thing is like when a person gets hired in to be the chief financial officer or CEO, right? And they sign this contract and agree, that this is the parachute that they're going to get when they depart, right? It seems like for some people there's no, as long as the company is better from the time you came in to the time you leave. It's a lot of times they can drive this company, to the ground,
mhm.
but they've got their golden parachute, hence the name. It's like
Right.
everything else is in free fall, but hey, I'm good, you know.
And
The hell
and
with the thousands of people that might be working for that company, and
and
now have to go and find a job.
and when that company goes into bankruptcy, it's not the golden parachute that gets clawed back. It's the pensions.
Mhm.
It's the pensions that get clawed back. So again, it's like, and again, all of these like CEOs, all of these people, like these judges and everything like that, they all went to the same, and the same, the same colleges, universities, and all that stuff. They all went to the same fraternities. They know each other. There's this, like very, very like you're not going to kick your friend from college out of their house, right? Tom's a good guy. Sarah, like she's a cool girl, man. She's like he's a good guy. She's a great gal. Like we can't, you know, we can't ruin their lives because they made some mistakes. Now, the people, they're nameless and faceless, and there's so many of them, whatever. Like they probably didn't earn their way up there. But Tom and Sally, like they totally did. They earned it. They worked hard for what they got. Like they had snowplow parents. You're talking about like people that don't want to work. Like how, all of these people that inherit their wealth, right? Like the big thing that, and I bring this up, is like the Brad Pitt, because he, to my knowledge, I could be wrong, but I've heard like he grew up very impoverished, very poor, and now he's one of the wealthiest guys, or one of the biggest names in Hollywood and stuff like that, or at least at one point was, if not now. But if you want to be wealthy, like my dream job is to be independently wealthy. Like that's my dream job, right? And the way that you do that is you have to inherit it from your family. And I haven't figured out Quantum Leap yet. Or this Michael J. Fox Back to the Future thing where I go back and I like, hey,
leave an almanac and just
hey,
the
Tom
right
and
spot.
Sarah, invest in this thing called Apple. I know it sounds weird, but just trust me on this, or whatever, right? Like, like go back to my grandparents. There's this thing that's gonna come out after the war. It's called Johnson and Johnson. You should look into that. like buy tons of it. Trust me. Like you can't go back and do that, right? And
Right.
so you're out. You're locked out of the club, right? Like you're not there, right? And so again, it's this. You're a cog in the wheel. You're there to be ground down in the system so that someone else can make profit off of you and then get replaced, right? Because we're breeding our own, right? Almost like Idiocracy, right? we breed so much, like the poorest people breed so much that they can just be shoveled into the workforce, into the factories, like cattle, right? And then whereas the oligarchy gets to stay on top on with the oligarchy, right? And so it's this corrupt system. And now like they've come out with like Kagan and what's the Hispanic judge? Oh, Sotomayor,
Mhm.
and Alito, and Clarence Thomas, and
Yeah.
guy. What's his
Yeah,
name that
just
begins
the
with G?
Supreme Court.
Yeah, yeah. Like they're like again, both sides of the aisle. Like the corruption is now like not just with the presidency in the executive branch. It's not just in the legislature. It's now in the judiciary branch too. Like we've suspected it, we've stated it, but now we have it official that all three branches are just full on corrupt, right? And it's this oligarchy that's working together. Like think about this. Purdue, and with the opioid crisis, who are they going after? They're going after the pharmaceutical company, and mind you, just one of them that you really hear about. The pill mills, the providers, some of the pharmacists, right? And they're putting all these stipulations that a pen, you cannot have a pen with a drug name on it, right? Like you can't have Viagra on here anymore. Like a drug rep cannot give me a pen that has Viagra on here anymore because that $2 pen, that's going to corrupt me as a provider, right? And you know what? It does. It actually does. It's like they've done studies, it influences. But I give $2,000 or $2 million to a politician or someone in government, they're incorruptible, right? And then those same companies are buying the corporate media, because who needs a missile defense system? So then why is Chuck Todd selling me a missile defense system from Northrop Grumman? Like, I don't need Chuck Todd selling me a missile defense system because guess what? I can't afford it. Like, most people can't afford a $400 like surprise bill. Like they can't afford a missile defense system. But you know what they are purchasing with that ad? Silence.
Mm-hmm. And
like
Danny talking about they should fire everybody in Washington is like, well, when we vote, if we could collectively agree as community to not reelect that person,
right,
and put our effort towards getting somebody else in,
and also Danny, that's not even a like I appreciate the sentiment. Trust me, brother, I appreciate the sentiment, but it's not even a valid approach because whoever does go in there will go into because again, it's not the people, it's the system. Because there's plenty of people that go in with great ideals.
Well, it's like I was listening to Cogdis earlier today when I was driving around. Cognitive Dissonance, another podcast. I don't know if any of y'all listen to it. Of course, I think only Danny is watching right now. Anyway, I'm not sure, but anyway, they were talking about Feinstein, right? And how she's having all these issues, and she needs to just step down, right? And open that spot up so shit can get done, right? Because where was I going? I had a fucking brain fart. But they were talking about how You know, it's become a cush job, right? It's why nobody wants to leave,
Mhm.
right? But you're a servant of the people. It should be a job that does not have a huge amount of perks. Doesn't you don't come out richer on the back end of it, right? That easy, right? I mean, once you come out and you decide, hey, I want to write a book about my experience, what have you, cool. You want to do some speeches afterwards, cool. But right now, you're a servant of the people,
Right.
right? It's you're not, you know, you want to run for president, you do that after you're out of office as governor or something, right?
Right.
You don't do it while you don't use your current position and taxpayer money
Mhm.
or taking in some money from some other third party to run that campaign while you're currently in an office.
Right.
You have a job right now.
Yep.
Do the fucking job you have right now.
Right.
Once you decide you want to run, you don't run for governor again. And you put your name on the ballot.
Right.
Or resign now so you can do it. Because for whatever reason you've chosen now, you want to run for president. Resign, step down, focus on doing that. Don't try and do both.
Well, and again, this happened, in the state of Washington, with
too many sheep people for a third party.
Okay. So no, but and again, I'll come back to that. But like you had Governor Isley in Washington, and you got I was going to say Ron Paul, Ron DeSantis in Florida right now. Like, instead of finishing their term, which people voted them for, right? In the middle of their service to their constituents, they're leaving this because again, when you're running for president, you're going across the country, right?
Mhm.
So you're instead of talking to your constituents, you're talking to people in Iowa, right? Like I'm talking with Washington and if it's Joni Ernst talking to people in Iowa, well, she's the governor of Iowa. I think that's her name. And she's the governor of Iowa. And so, if she wants to talk to people of Iowa, good for her. That's what she should be doing. But no, Ron DeSantis or Governor Isley coming over and talking to Iowa and New Hampshire. No. You got stuff happening in your own state. You need to be dealing with that, right? Like, you don't need to be coming and talking to all these others to build your clout and to climb that ladder, right? And again, like what you said, when you're done with your service, and again, you want to go back to like religion. Religion is all about service, right? And I hear so much about I hear so much about about faith, and especially Christianity. Well, Christianity is all about service to your brothers and sisters, right? Like, it's all about like service to your siblings of humanity, right? So if you're doing a job that's all about service, you need to finish your service before you go off and do something else, right? And so because again, like Florida, all of that taxpayer money, and Florida, man, my wife was just down there and we were looking at she was looking at houses for a family member, and the houses are about the same as they are up here in the state of Washington. And they're not much different than me up here, than up near Seattle. And on top of it, we don't have the housing insurance costs that Florida has, which is outrageous. Outrageous.
I was there recently too. Right now.
Yeah. No, you live it, right?
Yeah, I live it.
And the cost of produce is a little bit less, but I've got a person like I saw an advertisement for Subway starting hiring at $19 an hour, like up here.
Mhm.
Like when I left Florida to come up here, my salary increased by 2/3 like or 150%.
Mhm.
Like my wife's salary increased by about the same amount. Like and our like we lived in a much smaller house down there, and that's how we could have a lot of cushion for ourselves, right? Up here we have almost 3 times as much square footage, and we've got a lot of cushion.
Mhm.
Like because again, like the pay scale is so much more. Even though we're paying, a little, a little bit more in taxes, we're paying like people's salaries a little bit more, but then it like starts to trickle up, right? And those people that have salaries can then turn around and purchase their own stuff, so they have greater buying power, purchasing
Mhm.
power. Now, we do have a really big issue in when you're getting like to like Seattle and some of the larger cities up here where there's a huge amount of homelessness, and it's rampant and people really getting pushed out of.
Yeah.
And part of
Yeah,
that's
but
because all of the
yeah,
wealthy people are buying homes up here
right.
um,
And yet again,
for when the climate
I
crisis
saw
hits.
something today about that, is like, homeless people aren't the problem, they are a symptom of the
Yes,
problem,
right.
you know? Um, I mean, because if you wanna look at it from a mental health perspective, you wanna look at it from not taking care of our veterans
Yep.
problem, you
Yep.
know? You know, not I mean, you yet again, you mentioned, that some families are a $400 emergency bill away.
Yeah.
I'm in that boat, you know?
Yeah.
It's like I had to scrounge and try and figure out how I was gonna, do a $1,200 repair on my truck. My truck's got 223 323,000 miles on it,
Wow.
you know? Not planning on as long as I can keep that damn thing running, that's my to and from vehicle for work, and if I need to pick up supplies for things around the house,
Right.
to find a way of hauling shit. Um, yeah, it was a problem I knew was happening, and every time I was trying to scrounge and save to get it fixed, so it wasn't as big of a problem, yet again, some other emergency comes up. Um,
Well, and again,
so
it's designed that way because we want you living on credit,
right.
right? Because if you're living on credit, then you're in debt
Mhm,
and you're indebted to us. So
mhm.
now you're our servant.
Yeah, 'cause,
And now you can be oppressed.
if I remember correctly, going back to, how the credit industry boomed back in what was it, the 6 'cause, credit was a thing, but, like, credit cards became so prevalent, what was it, late 70s?
I think
I know it was around, but there was a big boom in it because it was like these corporations that, you know, wound up buying banks or the banks buying up the corporation. Instead of giving their employees raises, why don't we offer them credit, right? They're
Mhm.
still gonna have money to spend, but instead of actually giving them that money, well, here's a line of credit, and you can just pay us back over time kinda thing. And ever since then, everybody's gotten hooked and, not being able to, unless you have straight cash, not being able to buy a house or a car or anything unless you have a credit check and see how good your credit is, and not everybody
Well,
has the cash to buy a car. Not everybody has the cash to buy a home outright.
right.
So,
But you know what that's called? That's actually like, again, you talking about like this being a Christian nation and everything like that, which I always find interesting because, again, and I mean this in a earnest way, like that's called usury, and that's a sin. Like Christ took the bankers and kicked them out of the church. Like the reason why Jews across Europe got into banking was because Christians asked them to, because Christians, by their faith, were not allowed to get into banking because banking used usury, which is, giving someone a loan with interest. That's a sin.
Mm-hmm.
And yet, Gordon Gekko, greed is good, baby. Right? Like that's our everyday life.
Yeah, I was at Walgreens today picking up. I just stopped in there to grab a drink and something else I needed, and of course, they go, "It's going to pop up, if you would like to donate to charity, and then it's going to pop up if you would like to apply for the credit card." You want to know what the interest rate on that thing was?
What?
Like
15?
32%.
I was gonna say 15. Like that's
I'm like 32%.
That's loan sharking.
The hell?
Yeah, man.
And I remember seeing it the same thing like last year. It was same spiel, right? You want to donate, and it was 20 something percent, maybe like 25%, and it's gone from 25% to like 32%. I'm like,
yeah.
What in the hell? Somebody who needs to open up a credit card to get something at Walgreens, they're not going to be able to afford that.
No. Never. Again, and that's the whole point. That's the point. This is a scam. Like it's a scam, man. Like it's all about oppressing us, right? It's all about, keeping us addicted or dependent upon the oligarchy, right? You don't, and again, like land of the free, since when? Like, I'm not free to change my job because I got to have the insurance. That's tied to my job, right? If I leave my job, there's nothing. There's no social safety net, right? Like, okay, well, I'll go apply. Well, when do I get to apply to a job? There's no vacation days, right? Like, well, go on your day off. Well, I don't have a day off because my day off is spent at my other job because I have to work 2 jobs in order to make ends meet, right? Like I have to work 7 days a week in order to make ends meet because everything is increasing while wages have continued to stagnate, right? It's an oppression, man. It's all about oppression.
And like me, I don't accrue sick time.
Right.
If I'm sick, I have to take the day off and take an ABS, which if I accrue too many ABSs, then they're going to write my ass up. Or I have to use a vacation day. I should not have to use a vacation day if I'm sick.
Right.
Yep. But I mean, how like my previous job, before I was, in a union, and I have to admit that my union does suck. But I mean, it's.
Hey, Danny. Hey, thank you for sticking in and for posting, brother, man. Like, I appreciate you, man. Yeah. Hey, you brought up some comments that I definitely wouldn't mind having like an earnest conversation about, man. Because I think having an earnest conversation and understanding and all that different stuff, man, it comes from like having these talks and stuff like that. And so I appreciate you so much, brother. And is glad to have you here, man.
Yeah, totally. I saw those comments as well. And Yeah, I mean, if this is something I start trying to do regularly, um, even if it's just me getting on here and bullshit, and I am not the most, I am not the you and Eric are better at like debating and arguing through or talking through points than I am. Um, but I'm cool with, using this channel forum as a separate place to discuss those things, or maybe even have them on the main channel. Um, if whatever.
Whatever, man. Yeah.
Yeah. Um, but yeah, we've been doing this
Oh
for
yeah. Oh
hou-
shit. Yeah.
over an hour and a half. So just so I can show you real quick. I mean, this is nothing special. Um, what
You know what? In all honesty, I wasn't even sure. Like the last one I saw was like Mandy and Candy, and I was like, I don't even know if anyone's even here anymore. So
yeah. Yeah, I don't.
I was like, I think everybody left.
Still shows 2 people watching, but I'm assuming that's you and me.
Yes.
But
That's it.
for anybody who does come back and watches the rest of this, that was on today. Thank you for stopping
Yeah,
by.
for real, man.
Thank you. I think it was Mandy and Candy for the follow or sub or
Subscription.
so yeah,
Yeah.
sub as they call it on this thing. But yeah, this is the my laptop is not capable of doing very high quality. It takes a lot longer time to do a high quality render, but yeah, this is the what I was rendering while we were out. It's just text. It just says I think it's lost in my creativity.
I like
So,
that.
but yeah, that's going to be my daily post. I'm going to go in there and do some
Tweaking.
yeah, some color editing, adjust some tings on it. But yeah, that's going to be today's post.
You're
But
gonna go and do the magic that you do.
yeah, and I'm gonna keep I'm gonna try and transfer what I've edited on the laptop over to the computer and see if that transfers well, and figure that out, and we can talk about that at a later date. Because I would love to find a way of doing there is a service, I forget the name of it, but I think you can download in a particular format and upload to it, and it will take the transcription and give you a word based editing.
Oh, really?
And I'm not sure, but it's going through a website, so I'm assuming that would allow like multiple users to go in and edit. I think it's called the script. I think is what it's called. But I think I know that they offer like a free service, but it's probably limited. But that might be something to look into. But I think it would be fun to do some more just raw off the cuff stuff.
Yeah.
Without doing a lot of the editing. We just have to be more cautious on our name dropping and whatnot. Yeah. But yet again, yeah, like I said, is like, offering one thing on one platform. So like, a
Right.
nice, clean, edited podcast on one thing. And then yet again, like we did the last time, which was, kind of throw out the, our camaraderie, getting into conversation and relaxing and screwing around pre-show stream.
Mhm.
And then going into the thing. So
No, I really like that. I like, I thought like it was fun to be able to watch that. And like it, and again, it just sort of gets you like the jokes in and stuff like that kind of gets you a little bit into the mood. And you could see as we got into it, like more of the jokes coming in, more of the humor, the BSing, all that different stuff. So yeah, it's
Yeah, and maybe next time, we'll have. I mean, if when we do it, maybe people will jump in, like today, and say, here's what we're going to be talking about on the podcast, you know,
yeah,
and some of that might filter in, because some of it might be stuff we're already planning on talking about. Other than getting other people's opinion, and yet again, it's building that community, right? So, which is something I actually really appreciative of Eric and Thrash. Those are the Eric, of course,
yeah,
we know personally, and then getting to know Thrash online, and hopefully going through this chat and checking out some other people's
yeah.
channels,
No,
and
I
and seeing um, what they have to offer, and try not to make a life out of following everybody and jumping on everybody's chat.
oh, I know.
If anybody does come back and watch this, I do shift work and I change every 2 weeks, and it is a pain in the ass, and sometimes don't actually know how my schedule is actually going to play out until the week of,
Oh,
or
and let me tell you, like I'm gonna hear it tomorrow because I put my girls to bed. And so when my youngest came in, like that was bedtime. And so here we are almost an
oh
hour late.
shit, I
Yeah, no,
ran.
it's all right.
Dude,
No, it's okay.
you should have
And
said
so
something. I did. All right, we're
no,
done. Bye.
no, I'm gonna go up there and give them kisses and all that
Are
stuff.
they out of school right now, or
No,
they still have a
no,
little bit of time left?
we've got school until almost the end of June.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they've got 19 more days.
Yeah.
I think it is. So
little
18 now.
Yeah, little man's already out. He'll be he's finished with 7th grade. Gonna be going on to 8th grade, and trying to figure out what to keep him busy with during the summer. Right now, he's hanging out with my wife's father, so they went to Universal Studios. I hate those things, so I did not go.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
They're like, we paid for the or he paid for the addition, the jump ahead of the line thing.
Mhm.
I forget what it's called, the fast pass or whatever.
Yeah.
It was like, but everybody else paid for the fast pass too. So it's like, we paid you money to still wait in line for 30 minutes to ride a ride.
Right?
I was like,
Right?
I'll just keep my money. It'll still take me 30 minutes. I mean, it's like
No,
either
you
make it.
used so like in Disney, you used to buy the fast pass and you would schedule times, right? And so you would be set for like, okay, I'm going to get in this ride, and you could plan it out, right? I'm going to get on this ride, then get off, and then just kind of go around everything,
Yeah.
right? And then that's how you did the fast pass while everybody else waited in line. But then they were like, well, why don't we just open up the fast pass? And it's just basically the line and then the even slower line, right? So it's now you have the regular line and then an extra slow line. So it's
Yeah.
not even a fast line. It's just now become the regular line that you're paying more for.
And then the poor folk who can't afford it.
Right. Again.
Who just get to watch everybody else enjoy the ride.
Right. And get less out of life.
Yeah.
Because their humanity isn't worth it.
All about the money.
Right. Because again, here's the and it goes back to like we're going to talk about it in one of our podcasts, but like time, right? That's the most precious thing that we have. It's the only thing that money cannot buy, right?
But we sell it every day.
And we can buy it a little bit, right? With like being able to access a gym or purchase a personal trainer. a personal chef. Like you get like the wealthier you are, you do get more time, right? Or more years under your belt versus a shorter lifespan with less money. But like you can't. But whatever your sort of clock is, like when it's time, that's it. There is nothing else that you can do. Like there's only money can
Yeah.
only buy you so much time, right?
Yeah.
Is what I'm trying to say. And so, and yet, you know, and that's the real cost of poverty,
Mhm.
right? Is the impact on time,
Mhm.
right? And the people that have inherited wealth, that are independently wealthy, they have time to do whatever.
Hmm.
And it's not because they earned it. It's just because, you know, and again, like 1 in a million sperm hit, you know, met with, you know, by chance, a particular egg
Mhm.
and created this person. And, you know, you basically you won the vagina lottery is what you won. Right.
Did you see that? Did I post that on chat? The guy is like, what's your favorite snack?
Oh
Vagina.
yeah.
It tastes delicious.
It's just
You don't get any weight.
right. Yeah, no matter how much you eat.
Yeah. It's just real expensive.
You're right, exactly, right. But no, like and so again, you know, like that's it. That's the only thing that really, you know, and again, and when we talk about like the you know, death tax, like again, like that's how you maintain the oligarchy is no, like let Bill Gates' son go on his own and figure it out. Like he doesn't get mom and dad's money. Let him
Yeah,
let
I
their
mean, in all
figure it
honesty, I would like to see that. You know, it's like
Yeah.
when you're if your parents die and there's, you know, a significant amount of money left behind, it's either all just put back into a system or there's a cutoff, right?
Mhm.
You know? Um, and I know people would argue, you know, oh, it's not fair. They worked so hard for that money. Their family should benefit from it. But yet again, it's like, you
Why
know,
no,
they,
but it's
they, they
let's go back to let's go
but
back to
they,
this
but
concept.
the thing is as long as that person
Sorry.
grew up in that household, they've already benefited from
Yes,
that
they
money
have.
by getting you know, a better education,
Yep.
having, you know, more opportunities at a younger life, right? Or at a younger time in their life, probably getting a better college education, right?
Also getting
So they're already starting with a leg up,
Mhm.
right? You know, so, you know, take that money and make sure that everybody gets that opportunity
Right.
for a better education if they want it, right?
Well, and here's my thing. People say they want a meritocracy, right? The average person says they want a meritocracy. Then let that person go and show their merit, right? Like you like because I've heard, and again, I know that's not your statement because I've heard that statement before. Hey, their family works hard. Why can't take care of their family? I want to be able to take care of my family so that they're set. But don't you believe in a meritocracy? Sure. They're meriting off of my hard work. That's not meritocracy, my friend.
No.
Right? They need to merit off of their own hard work.
Mhm.
Right? And again, yes, you can't you can't sit there and go like you can't spend any money on your children. No, I don't agree with that. So again, they're already getting a leg up, right?
Mhm.
They're getting into Harvard so they can get access to the National Lampoon and then, you know, from there get a better chance of getting a job with the Simpsons, right? Writing for the Simpsons and then, you know, all these other doors that
Yeah,
open up, right?
they get great networking ability.
Exactly, right? So they've already got huge leg ups,
Mhm.
right? Again, when they go before a judge, that judge is going to be more lenient on them than the poor kid because of the fact that that judge went to like rush with them, right? Or went to a frat party with them or knew them in college, right? Whereas that poor
Or their
kid,
father or their
right,
brother. Yeah.
exactly, right, yeah. Like we
Yeah.
used to play, like we used to go and dressage together, right? Like come on. So again, like they're gonna get, they get advantages already, right? And then to sit there and say, like, well, yeah, and you get the $50 billion too. You know what? Actually, no, we're gonna be fair. You only get 25 billion. Oh, how could you ever live off of that? That's only one island, right? Like, or whatever. Like, come on, man. Like,
You mean I only have to have one private jet and 2 yachts and 5 homes?
you mean I only get one Epstein Island and not the 4 that I really dreamt of? Like, come on, man. Like, what is this insanity, right? And so like it's, you want a meritocracy, right? And survival of the fittest and all this stuff. Like, then let's see how fit they are.
Yeah, and it's amazing that you hear that argument from people who do not subscribe to a belief in evolution a lot of times.
Oh yeah,
It's like, first off, you're not understanding the survival of the fittest. You know.
I know.
You're not. It's not who can kick somebody else's ass better and
Right.
win the fight. It's, what life form thrives in that environment better than the others, right? Which gene sequence, that your parents passed on, which of those offspring survives better to pass on its genetic code? You know this,
Right.
but,
Yeah. I know. I did, and it's and anyone that's watching this happens every time. We said we were going to sign off like 8 minutes ago, and like here we are, like going on another tangent. Yeah. So
welcome to how we do the show.
From here to paternity.
This is why we would have like epic 3-hour plus shows after edit.
Hey, right. I was about to say after edit. After edit. That's like, I always think about that. I'm like, you poor.
And just imagine 2 other people contributing ideas.
Yeah. Oh God, I know. Right.
And
talking over each other. But no, like, yeah, I like this. So, you can't have an inheritance. You can't have inheritance and have a healthy republic and even anything remotely close to a democracy. Because all you are going to, when you have inheritance, like, and I don't mean like any inheritance. I mean, like, again, there's reasonable caps out there, like 2 million, 5 million. You can pass that on. Anything beyond it, like, gets taxed, right? Like, up to a certain point, it's going to get taxed, right? Like, and it's like, that's a fair amount to pass on to your family. And so, like, having these inheritance taxes keeps us from having the thing that our founding fathers were fighting against, which was a royalty, right? A monarchy, right? And that's what we have.
Yeah. Instead of a bunch of kings, you got a bunch of lords,
Right.
No real king, but a bunch of lords. Imposter Danny brought me
here.
Hello, Riley.
Hello.
Yeah. We're trying to wrap up, and we blew right past the time we were planning on.
Yeah, I know.
But thank you for coming.
Yeah.
Go back and listen. Leave comments if you disagree. Maybe we'll
Absolutely
address them later on.
Absolutely.
This was a spontaneous thing. I was like, hey, Scott, you want to do a live stream? Sure, why not?
It's nighttime. I've got no birds to watch, and I've already got rid of all of my turds to polish.
There you go.
Sure, why not?
He works through them quickly.
Yeah, that's right.
It's
the end of the day, I already got it.
Got quick hands.
I want a man with a slow hand.
I
want
want
a
love
man with an
easy
easy touch.
I want somebody who spends some time. I think I got the lyrics right. can't
I
remember.
think so. I have no
Yeah.
idea. Like after that, I was done. I was like, okay, I know those 2 lines, and that's all I got. So no, like but yeah, Riley, check out From Here to Paternity. Our podcast. You can listen to it anywhere. You'll get like the full 4 of us chatting it up and goofing off and making lots of crude jokes and adolescent humor as grown middle-aged men, and enjoy it and have fun. And then yeah, we have no like we'll see what we can do about doing this again. We'll see if we get enough interaction. If people comment enough and view this enough, we'll make another one.
Yeah. And we're planning on doing live streams for when we're actually
Oh, yeah.
doing the recording for From Here to Paternity too. So
Yeah.
direct them. Keep an eye out for Scott's posts on Facebook, From
Yep.
Here to Paternity, and his I'm going to call it his Twitter because he's the only one who tweets. As far as I know.
Yeah, I think I am actually.
Yeah, but mainly Facebook. And one of these days, I would like to get Thrash on and whoever else wants to jump in with
Yeah.
our craziness. I don't know if Thrash can handle our level of
Deviancy.
depravity, and deviancy. That
Depravity, deviancy, all of it.
yeah.
So. All right.
Oh, what was the joke? It's like, I'm not an introvert. I'm not an extrovert. I'm not a something. I'm a pervert. I forget what it was.
Yeah. That's about right.
Yeah. All right, All right,
right.
Scott. It's
Much
it's
love,
been
brother.
fun. Yeah, much love. And is it next week? And next weekend?
No, because Tug's out of town next weekend.
Okay.
So
I thought it was
actually
this. I
going
thought
a
it was
month
this
out.
weekend he was out.
Oh, is it this one? Okay, then maybe it is.
I don't
next
know.
week.
My work schedule got screwed up this week because they told us
No,
the
he's out
plant's shutting
the
down.
first week of June, he said.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I plan on trying to get the podcast finished, at least the one I'm working on now, and getting another one in, and go ahead and having it ready to go ahead and upload it and just have it scheduled to release.
Okay.
So because I'm already behind on the one. But anyway, it's been fun, brother, and much love to anybody who's watching our nonsensical blatherings.
Yeah.
So, all right.
All right. Take care.
All right. Bye.